Hello, today we're going to look at Mark chapter 3. Another time he went into the synagogue, and a man with a shriveled hand was there. Some of them were looking for a reason to accuse Jesus, so they watched him closely to see if he would heal him on the Sabbath. Jesus said to the man with the shriveled hand, "Stand up in front of everyone." Then Jesus said to them, "Which is lawful on the Sabbath? To do good or to do evil? To save life or to kill?" But they remained silent. They looked around at them. He looked around at them in anger, and was deeply distressed at their stubborn hearts, and said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He stretched it out, and his hand was completely restored. Then the Pharisees went out and began to plot with the Herodians how they might kill Jesus. Jesus withdrew with his disciples to the lake, and a large crowd from Galilee followed. When they heard all he was doing, many people came to him from Judah, Jerusalem, Idumea, and the regions across the Jordan, around Tyre and Sidon. Because of the crowd, he told his disciples to have a small boat ready for him, to keep the people from crowding him. For he had healed many, so that those with diseases were pushing forward to touch him. Whenever the evil spirits saw him, they fell down before him and cried out, "You are the Son of God." But he gave them strict orders not to tell them who he was. Jesus went up on a mountainside and called to him those he wanted, and they came to him. He appointed 12, designating them as apostles, that he might be with them, and that he might send them out to preach, and to have authority to drive out demons. These are the 12 he appointed: Simon, to whom he gave the name Peter, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John. To them he gave the name Boanerges, which means sons of thunder. Andrew, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James, son of Alphaeus, Thaddeus, Simon the Zealot, and Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him. Then Jesus entered a house, and again a crowd gathered, so that he and his disciples were not even able to eat. When his family heard about this, they went to take charge of him, for they said, "He is out of his mind." And the teachers of the law who came down from Jerusalem said, "He is possessed by Beelzebub, by the prince of the demons. He is driving out demons." So Jesus called them and spoke to them in parables. "How can Satan drive out Satan? If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. If a house is divided against itself, the house cannot stand. And if Satan opposes himself and is divided, he cannot stand, and his end has come. In fact, no one can enter a strong man's house and carry off his possessions, unless he first ties up the strong man. Then he can rob his house. I tell you the truth, all the sins and blasphemies of men will be forgiven them, but whoever blasphemes against the Holy Spirit will never be forgiven. He is guilty of eternal sin." He said this because they were saying, "He has an evil spirit." Then Jesus' mother and brothers arrived. Standing outside, they sent someone in to call him. A crowd was sitting around him, and they told him, "Your mother and brothers are outside looking for you." "Who are my mother and my brothers?" he asked. Then he looked at those seated in a circle around him and said, "Here are my mother and my brothers. Whoever does God's will is my brother and sister and mother." Well, here we have another exciting reading from Mark's Gospel. You see, any reading that we're going to read now in the next few days and few weeks is going to be exciting, because it's about the work and life and ministry of Jesus. We see that in verse 7 there was such a huge crowd that Jesus withdrew to the lake. There were so many people that wanted to be touched by Jesus. And I love this, when Jesus touches people, when Jesus reaches out to people, people's lives are transformed, people's lives are changed. Even the evil spirits were in control by Jesus. When he spoke to them and he cast them out of people, he always gave them strict instructions not to say who he was. But on one occasion here, we read in verse 11, that one of the evil spirits cried out, "You are the Son of God." You see, even the evil spirits knew who Jesus was. And then Jesus appoints the 12 disciples, and we read through their names, but he doesn't just appoint them to look after the church or look after a building or to paint a wall or to cut the grass. He gives them authority, and he commands them to preach, commands them to pray for the sick, and commands them to drive out the demons. You see, I believe that God has given us authority through the power of his Holy Spirit that lives in every single Christian. But many, many of us live in fear, we live in worry, we live in anxiety. I pray that today you'll take hold of what God has really got for you. You'll stand up and be counted, step out of the boat and move forward for him and in him. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a really good day.